And thanks for joining me here tonight. I am Hawkeye, and this is Maple Leafs Man Advantage. And in this particular episode, I'm going to go over the 1977-78 NHL season. Talk about the Leafs. They're my team. And look at some other things that went on in the league during that particular season. And first off, I apologize. The last video, it was almost an hour. I only went through 9 rounds of the 1977 draft. But if you want, you can take your time. You don't have to watch it all in one go. I was getting the videos shorter, and then I put that one out. But anyways, trying to get all this out here too. And I'll send out another shout out to a guy I work with, Tunnel Nuck. If you're a Vancouver Canucks fan, I definitely suggest watching his videos. He's got some videos out there. I've seen a few of them. It's pretty good. I really enjoy it. He's a Leaf fan too, but he's definitely a Vancouver Canuck fan. That's Tunnel Nuck. Go and check him out. And as well, it's getting that time of season, so I'm going to wish you a Merry Christmas as well. I'm not sure if I'm going to get another one in before Christmas, but there you have it. And if you don't celebrate Christmas, that's okay. I hope you're enjoying hockey. We'll go with that. And finally, definitely, I'd appreciate it if you like this video. Hit the thumbs up, hit like, subscribe. I've got other videos as well, generally dealing with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and as well, you can comment on anything here as well. So for the 1977-78 season, the Toronto Maple Leafs have got themselves a rookie coach in Roger Nielsen. They got some talent, guys like Daryl Sittler, Boreas Solomon, Lanny McDonald, just to name a few, and a goalie in Mike Palmateer, youngster. Looks like he may be doing pretty good in Toronto. So we're going to see how they do here. But just to go over a few things in the league as well. This particular season, Clarence Campbell has retired as the NHL president, and John Ziegler, who I remember as a kid, he had that position, took over for him. That was the NHL president. And Ziegler was just the 4th NHL president of all time, and there have technically only been 5. The title was renamed, and so then therefore there's only been one commissioner of the NHL, and that is present day Gary Bettman. He's been there since 1992, 93, somewhere in there. That's Gary Bettman. This was also the very first year the Selke Trophy for the top defensive forward was handed out. Who won it? Well, it was Bob Gainey of the Montreal Canadiens who walked away with the trophy. Incredibly, he would go on to win 4 years in a row with this trophy. Would have loved to see him in blue and white. Never did, though. But that's Bob Gainey of the Montreal Canadiens. In this season also, the names of the referees, the last names, were added to the back of the sweaters instead of just the number. Personally, I always felt if the ref made a bad call, the fans knew exactly who to call out on the ice. It doesn't really happen today anyway, that I see. But anyways, they kept the names on the back of the officials until the 1994-95 season. And then they put them back on. I'm not sure when, but I'll get to that at some point. But they definitely have put the names back onto the officials as well at this point. Now, along with the officials, the players also had to have their last names on the back of the sweaters as well. Thing is, in Toronto, there was owner Harold Ballard, and he refused to do this. Why, you may ask? He felt he would not be able to sell as many programs if you knew the name of the player on the back of the sweater. Okay, so the NHL stated that they would fine the team if they did not do so. Ballard did. Thing is, he put it in the exact same color as the jersey itself, therefore making it a very difficult time for you to read the name on the back of the sweater. The NHL then threatened further sanctions, so Ballard did finally put readable names on the back of the sweaters. And guess what? The team did not fold due to unsold programs. It seemed to be an okay idea. So yes, and for the NHL, this was the last season for players like Johnny Busick, Dennis Hall, or Eddie Jacquemin. But it was also the debut of players such as Doug Wilson, Dave Taylor, and Mike Bossy. So the Leafs are still within the Adams division. And by season's end, the Boston Bruins won the division. They were the team. They had 51 wins and 113 points. They were the Bruins. They were only second to the Montreal Canadiens in points at the end of the year, and the Montreal Canadiens were, unfortunately, I should have wrote it down. Was it like 132 points? It was incredible. They were way out in front. But for the Bruins, it was Don Cherry. Yes, Don Cherry, or Grapes. He was the coach of the Bruins for this season. Peter McNabb, who would happen to be on my particular team, is on the Bruins. He led the team with 41 goals. Terry O'Reilly, he led the team with 61 assists and 90 points. Both of them were all-stars as well. Incredible, as O'Reilly also had 211 penalty minutes. So he led in points, assists, and penalty minutes. In net, they had a three-headed monster, as they had Ron Graham, who had 26 wins, 7 ties, 3 shutouts, and a 2.76 goals against average. He was an all-star. Also, they had Gilles Gilbert, who had 25 wins, 2 ties, 2 shutouts, and a 2.54 goals against. And finally, they had 37-year-old Hall of Famer Jerry Cheevers, who had 10 wins, 2 ties, a shutout, and a 2.66 goals against. Nice, strong team in Boston. They had a goal differential of plus 115. Whoa. They were 3rd in goals and 5th in goals against. That is the Boston Bruins, who led the Adams at the end of the year. In second place was the Buffalo Sabres. Not too shabby here either. They had 44 wins and 105 points. For the Sabres, it was Gilbert Perreault, who led the team with 41 goals and 89 points. Big D-man Jerry Korab was a man to watch out for. And Craig Ramsey led the NHL. He had 5 short-handed goals, 5 shorties. All 3 of those guys were all-stars as well. And the big man in Buffalo, well, it was Don Edwards, who would also be on my team as well. He had played 72 games. He won 38. Both of those led the NHL. He had 17 ties, 5 shutouts, a nice .906 save percentage, and a 2.64 goals against. And finally, of course, he was an all-star as well. In third was the Toronto Maple Leafs. They put in a really good year here. They had 41 wins and 95 points. This was their best season since winning the Stanley Cup in 1967. First time they ever had 90 points. They had 95 here. Lanny McDonald led the team with 47 goals. Daryl Sittler had 45. Sittler led the team with 72 assists and 117 points. Both of these line mates were all-stars. Tiger Williams was the man to keep your eye out for. He had 351 penalty minutes. In that, it was Mike Palmateer. He was the number 1 guy. He had 63 games played, 34 wins, 9 ties, 5 shutouts, 2.75 goals against, and a sharp .911 save percentage. Palmateer was an all-star as well. Now, overall, this is extremely important right here in my mind. McDonald, he was 4th in the NHL in goals. Sittler was 6th in the NHL in assists. Sittler was tied for 2nd with Guy Lafleur of the Montreal Canadiens in points. No. I am sorry. Take that all back. So McDonald was 4th. Sittler was 6th in goals. There we go. And then he was tied for 2nd with Guy Lafleur in the league. Guy Lafleur, of course, was with the Montreal Canadiens. And Sittler was 3rd in points. McDonald was tied for 10th for points, along with Wilf Paymont of the Colorado Rockies. Interestingly, who he will be traded later for. We'll get to that someday. And there you go. And then in net, in wins, Palmateer was 3rd, 4th in save percentage, and 8th in goals against, tied with Dan Bouchard of the Atlanta Flames. Extremely important because you had at least a couple guys in the top 10 in points and goals, and you had a goalie that was putting in good numbers too. He was 3rd in the league in saves, 4th in save percentage. Very important. That should equate to having a good year. They were in a very tough division, but we're going to get to that and see where they get to it in the playoffs in another video. So finally, rounding out the Atoms, and in last place, unfortunately, once again, was the Cleveland Barons. They had 22 wins and 57 points. Dennis Maruk led the team with 36 goals and 71 points. He was an all-star. Looked like Randy Holt. Never seen him play that I know of, but he was a guy to look out for, perhaps, with the Barons. And in net for the Barons at Gilles Meloche, he had 16 wins, 8 ties, 1 shutout. He was an all-star as well. So he must have played pretty good, even though they were not a playoff team. And they also had Gary Edwards. He had 6 wins and 5 ties. So, who was the worst in the league in this particular year? Guess what? It was not the Washington Capitals anymore. They were 2nd worst. The worst, though, the Capitals, they had 17 wins and 48 points. I base it on points. Come on. That's what you should base it on. The Capitals were a minus 126. But they were the worst in points. They're still pretty darn bad in Washington, but it was the Minnesota North Stars that were the worst. Bit of a shocker there. But they were. They had 18 wins, one more than Washington, but they only had 45 points. They scored 218 goals. That's 16th out of the 18-team league, and allowed 325 goals. Tied for worst in the league with the Cleveland Barons. They would score 2.7 goals in a game and allow 4. Tough to win. They were a goal differential of minus 107. So not as bad as Washington, but they ended up worse in the standings. There you go. So yeah. Looking at those two teams, the Capitals and the North Stars, the Capitals that just sort of keep working on it, keep adding talent, keep trying to improve and scoring goals and keeping the puck out of your net. And in Minnesota, I'd almost say it's more might be a time for a shake-up because you're not as new as Washington here, and you should be performing better than that. And there is a shake-up coming in the horizon for Minnesota. So yeah, for the playoffs, things were changed here as the top 2 teams from each division made the playoffs, no matter what. So 12 of the 18 teams made the playoffs as well. So the remaining 4 teams that made the playoffs were based upon the standings. The Leafs were not in the top 2, but they made the playoffs, so they had a good enough season to make the playoffs. So there you have it. That's the 77-78 Toronto Maple Leafs. And one moment, please. I meant to put this at my feet. I did not. Sorry. But here is my team for the 1977-78 Toronto Maple Leafs. And would you look at who's on the top line? That is the top line for the New York Islanders. Oh boy, we still got Sittler, McNabb, we got Gare, Plett, Holmgren. Those guys add some toughness like Gillies on the top line there. And then on defense, we got Salming, Turnbull. We got Reed Larson. Gonna pump him in there. It's a very left-handed decor. I think Larson's the only righty. The rest of them are left. But I like the D. I like the centers. I like the right wing. In net, we got Bernie Perron, still there, 9-12 save percentage. And then we got Gord McRae and Bob Sauvé. So I'm going to say by the end of the year, it's Perron and Sauvé as my two guys for the playoffs. But give some time in net for McRae, maybe earlier in the season there. And then I got a bunch of guys, some extras down here. McKinney, still on the team. But we got some new guys here too, like Foster, O'Connell, Marois, Kerr, Fox. So yeah, there it is. I really like that team. The left wingers, maybe not so much as the rest of it, but boy, I like that team. Yes, there you have it. So, as I was thinking with this team, call me crazy, but I think we would beat the Bruins, have more points than the Bruins by the end of the season, and we would be second overall behind the Montreal Canadiens, but we would be above the Bruins in the playoffs. Adding it up, I don't know. We might lead the NHL in goals. It's tough. I know all those goals wouldn't equate to where they were. I mean, McNabb's my third line center. He's not going to get 40 goals. Sittler might. But I don't know. I really like that. That might lead the league in goals. And I was thinking maybe 7th in the league in goals against. I don't know. Maybe a little bit better. But yeah, it's tough because I've got 8 20-goal scorers, 6 30-goal scorers, 4 40-goal scorers, and a 50-goal scorer. As I said, that's not all going to equate out, but that's what happened in this year for these guys, so that's tough. So yeah. So for the playoffs, the teams, So yeah. But running it all out, I think my team, here we go again, I think they would make the finals, play the Montreal Canadiens, and then I just don't know. I don't know if we could bounce them out or not. I think we would play the Bruins in the semifinals, and it would be one heck of a semifinal right there between Toronto and Boston, between those two teams. But there would be some trades I would make, get guys off the team or guys on the team. So yeah. But yeah, I would trade Don Edwards. He was one of the guys last year in that for us, but I'd trade him to Minnesota. They didn't have a good year the previous year, so maybe Edwards might be able to help him out. Murphy, sent him with John Stone over to Detroit. They weren't very good last year. Or they were good last year. They were terrible this year. No. They were good this... I forget. I think they were good this year. But they weren't very good after they got... In between Howe and Yzerman, I think they made the playoffs once. They were not very good for quite a period of time. But there you have it. So that's the 1977-78 NHL season. And that's good. So my next video, I think I'm going to go through a bunch of trades the Leafs made in this particular season to try and beef up their team, try and help them out for this season. But there you go. And I feel very soon I might have to do a modern, right now, talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs. They are last in the Atlantic. Absolute bottom of the conference. No, the division, I'm sorry, is the Leafs. I think they're second worst in the conference. Still above Columbus, who beat them early in the season twice. But anyways, on to other videos if you want to see them. But there we go. But until next time, go Leafs, go.